Hello friends, and welcome to Mysterious Lost. In this video we explore the enigmatic world of our national parks, where the serene landscapes and untamed wilderness have been the backdrop for some of the most baffling disappearances in history. These are not your ordinary missing persons cases. They are tales of unexplained vanishing acts that have left investigators and adventurers alike scratching their heads. Join us as we discuss the stories of 5 unexpected disappearances in our national parks, where the line between the natural and the supernatural becomes blurred. First case. Richard Judd. Richard Judd, a 72-year-old man from San Francisco, went missing on July 25, 2021, while hiking in Yosemite National Park. He was last seen hiking from his camp near Lower Merced Pass Lake to Red Peak Pass. Judd was an experienced hiker, and he had been hiking in Yosemite National Park for many years. He was well prepared for his hike, and he was carrying all the necessary gear. On the day of his disappearance, Judd left his camp at around 9 a.m. He was hiking alone, and he was expected to return to his camp by 5 p.m. However, he never returned. When Judd did not return to his camp, his hiking partner became concerned and reported him missing to the National Park Service. A search was immediately launched, but Judd could not be found. The search for Judd continued for several days, but it was unsuccessful. The National Park Service used a variety of resources in the search, including helicopters, dogs, and ground crews. However, they were unable to find any trace of Judd. The National Park Service interviewed Judd's hiking partner and other people who knew him. They searched the area where Judd was last seen, including the trail, the surrounding wilderness, and the Merced River. They used dogs to track Judd's scent. They used helicopters to search the area from the air. They used ground crews to search the area on foot. Despite these efforts, Judd could not be found. Investigators believe that Judd may have gotten lost or injured while hiking. They also believe that it is possible that he was attacked by an animal. However, there is no evidence to support any of these theories. The disappearance of Richard Judd remains a mystery. The National Park Service continues to investigate his case, and they are asking for the public's help in locating him. If you have seen Judd or have any information about his whereabouts, please contact the Park Investigative Service tip line at 888-653-0009. Second case. Dennis Martin. On June 14, 1969, 6-year-old Dennis Martin vanished in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee. His disappearance sparked the largest search effort in the park's history, but Dennis was never found. Dennis and his family were on a camping trip in a remote area known as Spence Field. He was playing with his older brother, Douglas, when he suddenly disappeared. Douglas searched for his brother for several minutes but couldn't find him. He then ran to get their father, William. William and Douglas immediately began searching for Dennis, but they couldn't find him either. They quickly alerted the park rangers, who launched a massive search effort. Over the next 2 weeks, approximately 1,400 searchers combed the area, but there was no sign of Dennis. The search for Dennis was eventually abandoned, but his case has never been closed. Over the years, there have been numerous theories about what happened to him. Some people believe that he was kidnapped, while others believe that he got lost and wandered off into the woods. There have even been reports of sightings of Dennis over the years, but none of these sightings have been substantiated. The disappearance of Dennis Martin remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in the history of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. His family has never given up hope of finding him, and they continue to search for answers. In 2022, the FBI released Dennis's case file to the public in response to a Freedom of Information Act request. The case file contains over 100 pages of documentation, including interviews with witnesses, search reports, and crime scene photos. The release of the case file has renewed interest in the case, and some people believe that it could lead to new clues about what happened to Dennis. The disappearance of Dennis Martin is a tragedy for his family and friends. It is also a reminder of the dangers that can be present in the wilderness. If you're planning on hiking or camping in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, be sure to be prepared and take all necessary precautions. Third case, Trenny Lynn Gibson. Trenny, 16 years old, 5'3", 115 pounds, was wearing a blue blouse, a blue and white striped sweater, a borrowed brown plaid heavy jacket, blue jeans, blue Adidas shoes, and a diamond and star sapphire ring. Accompanied 40 of her classmates from Knoxville, Tennessee, on a field trip to Great Smoky Mountains National Park on October 8, 1976. The students were hiking to Andrews Bald on the trip and separated into small groups when they arrived at the trails. Trenny apparently hiked with several different sections of her classmates at different paces during the day. She was last seen at approximately 3 p.m. near Klingman's Dome, walking on a moderately steep trail with sharp drop-offs and dense undergrowth on both sides. Extensive searches of the park continued until the end of October 1976, but Trenny has never been located. She was a sophomore at Bearden High School at the time of her disappearance. Her case remains unsolved. Fourth case, Shirley Bauman. 61-year-old Shirley Bauman was last seen hiking toward Lake Blethen, an area with large cliffs and treacherous terrain in the Snoqualmie National Forest on July 20, 2020. Reports say that Shirley was on the Quartz Creek Trail in the North Bend from the Middle Fork Road. Shirley may have been seen by other hikers on this path, but it hasn't been said for sure. Anyone who may have seen her is asked to come forward when she didn't come home after a few days. She was reported missing, and the National Park Service and the King County Sheriff's Office started looking for her. They didn't find her, but they did find her camping and hiking gear, which made them even more worried about her safety. According to her friends and family, Shirley was a very experienced hiker, and it seemed out of character for her to leave her gear behind. Shirley's cart was also found near Trailhead B. At the time she went missing, it was thought that Shirley had a phone, brown sunglasses, and reading glasses with her. Shirley is a white woman who is 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighs 145 pounds, and has hazel eyes and blonde hair. If you know anything about her, call the King County Sheriff's Office at 206-296-311. Shirley's daughter, Jane, told the press in August 2020 that her mother was still missing in the Middle Fork area of the Quartz Creek Trail on the way to Lake Blethen. Jane said, "I would like people to know that my mom is still missing in the Middle Fork area of the Quartz Creek Trail on the way to Lake Blethen. If people are hiking in the area, keep an eye out for any sign of her. She's my best friend, and people saw her almost every day working with flowers at Ace Hardware, riding her bike, or walking the Snoqualmie Valley Trail. She loved helping the homeless by buying them sleeping bags, ground mats, and even tins. I know many people miss her, but I just want my mom and best friend back." Fifth case, Keith Reinhard. Keith worked at the Daily Herald in Chicago as a sports reporter. In 1988, he said he would take the next 90 days off to live in the Rocky Mountains, which had been a dream of his for as long as he could remember. Keith told a friend in a letter that he loved the mountains and wanted to live in them before he died. So he went to Silver Plume, Colorado, a small mining town of 200 people in the Arapahoe National Forest at the foot of the Rocky Mountains. In a way that was ironic and more than a little spooky, Keith wanted to go to this tiny mining town for more than just to fulfill one of his dreams. He also wanted to do something else. This was to write a book about the disappearance of a man named Tom Young. Tom Young was another man who went missing from the same mining town. But in September 1987, he opened an antique store in the building that used to be Tom Young's bookstore. He did this because he wanted to learn more about Tom's life so he could write about him in a more honest way. Late one afternoon, I was still very drunk from the night before, when I had a lot of fun and drank a lot. Keith Reinhardt went hiking on Pendleton Mountain and never came back. Over 100 people spent over 10,000 hours looking for him, but they never found out what happened. Reinhardt's wife, Carolyn O'Donnell, told the Daily Herald in 2008 that sometimes the answer is that there is no answer. Sometimes there isn't any answer that would be good enough for the person's loved ones to come to terms with the fact that someone so important to them has died. It must be hard enough to know that someone you love is dead and won't come back. But to have to figure out why they died in a place that is so beautiful, peaceful, and serene must be almost unbearable. So, in conclusion, make sure you're well prepared when you're in the woods. Whether you're camping, hiking, climbing, etc., in the national parks, or even in your own backyard. Tell at least one other person where you're going and when you expect to be back. Many people even give a time after which the police should be called if they haven't returned. You can find a lot of safety tips online these days, so please do your own research before going into the wilderness. Thank you for joining us on this expedition into the unknown. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with fellow enthusiasts of the unexplained. And remember, as you venture into the wilds of our national parks, keep a watchful eye, for you never know when you might stumble upon the next great mystery. Until next time, may your adventures be filled with wonder, and may you always tread lightly on the fragile tapestry of nature.